I'm a pianist, keyboard player, producer, engineer, and the name of my band is called Soul Cycle. We're based in Brooklyn, and we do a mix of jazz, funk, R&B, and world music, and with a little bit of rock thrown in there. And I also work as a producer with different vocalists, and I work as a sideman with different artists, R&B, jazz, and hip-hop artists. Brooklyn is weird to me. My dad's from Brooklyn, my mom's born in Brooklyn as well. And even though I didn't grow up there, I always felt some type of connection. I think once I did move there, it turned out to be a lot different from the way I heard about it, because obviously in the 60s and 70s, it's not the same as it is now. But it's still so many immigrant communities, so many even sub-communities within that, and communities of people from within the U.S. that moved to Brooklyn. It's really inspiring that there's so much mixing, and there's so much mixing of ideas and backgrounds. I really feed off that, and I'm grateful that I can sort of be around all that energy and all that creativity. And Brooklyn's like, my dad used to call it Planet Brooklyn, because it's really its own planet. It's resisted a lot of the changes that have happened in the rest of the country. Like, we don't go to Walmart, we go to the bodega, we go to the corner store. We're not going to Applebee's, we go to the diner or whatever is close by. I really like that aspect of it. Energy. There's the physics meaning, and then there's the everyday meaning, and then they're related. And well, I don't know. If I'm performing, I have to be taking energy and I have to be giving energy. And you can't take more than you give, and you can't give more than you take. So it has to be both ways. You got to give and take with the other people on stage with you, and also the people in the audience. Music, how do you even speak on that? Everything is music and everything is not music at the same time. I mean, music is a collection of sounds, but you can also, even if you couldn't hear, you could still see music. You could see music in the way people walk, in the way people talk to each other, in the way people dance. And even on a larger scale, like the way the planets revolve around the sun, the way the sun is in the galaxy, it's an organization, and there's like a rhythm to it. So I think what we call music is just a subset of like the larger music. That, basically everything, anything that has a pattern or a rhythm or some type of flow to it, it's music. Technology. That's a tough one for me, because I came up with computers and I was a computer science major. I love dealing with computers and all the amazing things you can do with them. But at the same time, I remember a time before email, I remember a time before cell phones, and I remember recording on tape before there was computers. And there's definitely something we lost. There's something we gained, but there's something we've lost. And my goal now is to figure out how we can retain that thing. Even now, we live in a world that does have all this technology. There's an immediacy and an intimacy that comes with having fewer options. And it seems like the more technology we have, the more options we have, and the less decisions we actually have to make. And I think to make music that touches someone, you have to make a decision. This is what I want to use, and this is what I don't want to use. I think it's more about what you don't use than what you use. That makes sense?
Makes sense.
But, you caught me on this day, like, if you asked me tomorrow, I'd probably say I'm working on this computer program that randomly generates melodies and counterpoint with these other, So, my dad sort of dabbles in music, and he dabbles in computer programming, and I think the first program I remember we wrote together when I was 8 or 9 was something that generated counterpoint in the style of Bach, and it was like, okay, we can make the computer spit out this music, and it creates it on its own. I think that was very powerful to me. So, I don't know. I'm torn. I'm on both sides of the fence. I was at the Stacked Museum last year for the first time, and that definitely changed my life. To see the physical room where all this great music came out of, and to see sort of even the technology for that day was already pretty far behind, and they still made this great, very powerful, soulful, important music. And it got me thinking that I don't need a lot of technology. I don't need a big corporate apparatus. I don't even need to be the best pianist or the best keyboard player, but what I need is to be able to play with my people, with my family, and to be able to express what we're expressing in a intimate way. And this is the first record we'll be doing all ourselves. We engineer ourselves. It's in our own studio, and it's not the most high-tech studio. It's not the biggest or most classiest studio, but what we lose on that, we gain in terms of being in a comfortable surrounding, and we just gain the vibe that it's really doing it ourselves. It's do-it-yourself. It's at home. It's a home brew. So that's why, it comes from that. And a lot of the greatest innovations we've seen, I think, come from people that are working on their own. They're not working as part of a larger company or a larger trend. They're just doing what they believe with the people that they feel they can also believe in the same thing together. And luckily, I'm surrounded by people that believe that live music and, music with real musicians and just music that you feel, music that you can feel with your heart, and all those things are really what's important. So that's homebrew. Thanks again for watching. This is Flipping Words on Jodine's Corner. My name's Jesse Fischer from Soul Cycle. You can catch me online, soulcyclemusic.com, or facebook.com/soulcyclemusic, or twitter.com/soulcycleband. Thanks again. See you soon.